Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. I was just out watering some plants and decided to give you guys an update on my Pulmeria because it is looking awesome. So this is the first Pulmeria update with some real good news in a long time. And not for the first time this year, but for the third time this year, we're going to get right to the point, I have flowers on my Pulmeria. So I've grown this from seed, and I didn't know what the flowers were going to look like. They're sort of just your traditional colors, but I'm happy nonetheless. And yeah, so things are going good here with the Pulmeria this year. Very good. And it's as tall as me. It's 6 feet tall. And let's see, what else can I tell you? Huge leaves on it now. Look at the size of those leaves. So a few things I did differently this year over last year to get to these blooms. There's another spike right there. Now, of course, I don't have the biggest bloom spikes, but I am in Canada, so, you know, bear with me here. I've had some real issues with this plant in the past, and I've even lost quite a few. Well, not quite a few, but I've lost a couple anyways in the past as well, because of the wintering problem. The way I would overwinter them, I would change it from year to year, trying to find what works for me. And wintering was just one of those hard things that I couldn't get done. This is a second little tree down here. I almost lost it, but it's come back nicely. And I'll get into details with the little guy in a second. But yeah, it was all about the wintering. And I would winter in the greenhouse, and it would be just too humid, and I would rot the stem. And I would winter them in the basement, and it would just be too dark, and I would rot the stem. So after several years of barely making it through the winter, I wintered this guy in the house last year. He still dropped most of his leaves, and I just put him in a south window, but the window was shaded anyways, but at least he got some natural light. It was much less humid in the house, of course, than like the greenhouse or even the garage, and it was heated, unlike the garage, so it got some heat. And by this spring, it already had its first bloom spikes starting on me, so I was like way ahead. In the past I have had bloom spikes, but they always come out in like September or October because it's taken all year to get the energy to get to this point, where this year they're just doing pretty good actually. And yeah, this little guy down here, I had to makeshift something for him last year or the year before because the stem, it rotted right down here just above the dirt level. There was always these two in the pot. And so I thought it was going to die, and for whatever reason it didn't die. It sent out a root from the top of the rot, because it's rotten below it, and the roots started growing from above and went into the ground. So I took the yogurt or the sour cream container, I cut it open, taped it back up, slid it over it, and then just piled some dirt inside it to raise the level up of the dirt. So you can still see the roots like massively here. But anyways, so yeah, it raised the dirt up to cover the roots. And the plan was, this year I was going to repot these guys anyways, and then separate this out, cut the rotten off the bottom, and then repot this properly, since it has any roots, but I never got around to it. So it's going to stay like this with this little ugly plastic container on it for a little while longer, but it was a good save, and it's nicely made a rebound this year. Yeah, I noticed a little bit of funny growth happening all of a sudden. Not sure why. Don't see any bugs. But yeah, I've had to fertilize this thing several times this year, just using an all-purpose bloom, just sort of a shake and feed, like a dry pellet. And I've done that a couple times. It's got some automatic watering down there, so it never quite dries out this time of year. It's linked in with the bog pots because they get automatically watered as well. And yeah, that is what I can tell you. This is a sheltered south-facing wall, so it gets as much sun as it can. It's white wall, so I guess it gets some reflected light, but it's not black, so it's not quite as hot of a wall as it could be, I guess. But it's really liking it here, and I kept it under the eaves on purpose so I could control the watering, and it's done really well. This thing has made the pot look pretty small this year, so really good. I'm really happy with this. This was like my normal sort of standard size leaf last year, and yeah, now they're 10 times that size. So woohoo, Pulmeria update, finally doing good. And I think the secret for me is I just got to bring this guy in the house until he gets too big to do that with. Pulmeria is when the light levels get lower and the temperature drops a bit, they start to go semi-dormant. They're not one of those things that goes like right dormant dead in the wintertime. They still usually have a tiny bit of growth on the top and stuff like that. But it might be just like a few new leaves like in here. Not very much of anything at all. It's going to drop most of these leaves when it decides to go dormant. And it is a warm grower, so when nighttime lows get down below 10 Celsius or 50 Fahrenheit on a consistent basis, I'm going to have to think about bringing it in. And this year I might go one step further. I might bring it in and put like an LED light above it so that it's not just sitting in a dark corner of my living room, my unused living room. So all winter long it's going to have a bit of light to it, hopefully. That's the plan. I don't know if it'll happen. The plan was also to repot it, right? And that didn't happen. But anyways, yes, I'm super stoked. I know it's not much, and for any of you guys in the tropical warmer climates like zone 9 and 10, this is nothing, but here in Canada, it's I'm happy with it anyways. So I hope you like this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye guys. Look at those leaves, so huge. Woo, big.